by the end of this lesson, you would have built your own very dictionary that will not only tell you the meaning of your words, but will be able to pronounce the word, to give you the right pronunciation for the word. So, without further ado, let's get into the building. So, we start by starting a new project. I would like to call the dictionary. Dictionary. Now, before an app can work, we need to design how it looks like. And this is called user interface, or we call it the UI. This is how the app looks like, the color of the app, buttons on the app. What and what will the user see when they are using your dictionary? So let's design what the user would see. Let's make our app appealing. So what are the things we need? We need some components to make our app look appealing. The first component would be horizontal arrangement. We drag and we drop. Then followed by, we need a text box. Text box. Okay, let's just come here. Search for a text box. We need a text box. We also need two buttons. Button 1, then button 2. And we need a label. Now, these are the components we need for our app. Now, let's start designing. But first thing, let's start from our screen. So what does the screen do? The screen is the one that would house everything. This is how your app will look like on a mobile screen. As you can see we have the mobile screen visualization here. So let's change our screen title to be dictionary. Now, can you see? Now, followed by the horizontal arrangement. Now, what does the horizontal arrangement do? This arrange components in an horizontal format. We don't want to arrange them vertically. So, in this horizontal arrangement, what we want to put in the horizontal arrangement is just the text box and button 1. So, let me get this exactly. Now, let's design our horizontal arrangement. Let's align horizontally center. Let's align vertically center too. Now for the background color, let's pick this. Exactly. Now for our height, let's make it 15% for the height. Now for the width, let's make it fit parent. Our app is coming alive. It's looking more beautiful, right? So now let's move on to the text box. So what does the text box do? The text box is the first component we need. This is a place where user can type. So can you see? This is a place where user can type words that they can type, they can edit. That is why we are using a text box, because we need a place where user can type. So think of it like Google search bar. In the Google search bar, you can type and you can edit your words. So this is exact thing. The text box is where you can type and edit. And in this case, this is where you will type your words. So we need a place to type your words. That's why we are using a text box. So let's design our text box. So for the font size of the words, let's make it 15. Let's make the font bold. Font bold. Then let's leave the height there, automatic. Then the width, let's make it 70%. Let's align our text to the center. Or let's leave it at left. Now the text color, let's leave it like that. Now for the ints, let's just put an int type your word. Now we are done with our text box. Now let's move on to our button. Now this button is our search button. This is what tells the app that okay, we are done typing our words in the text box. Go and search for the word. Think of it like the button is telling the app go. That's what the button is for. It's telling the app go and search for the word. So let's design our button. Let's make the font bold. Then the font size, let's make it 20. Then our height and width, let's leave it at automatic. Then let's change the shape to be rounded. Then let's change the text to be search. Search. Now, center. Let's change our background color to be black. And let's make our to be white. Our text color to be white. Exactly. Let's adjust this our text box to make it look beautiful. Let's make it 60%. Now, exactly. So now moving on, we have the second button. What does the second button does? The second button is what I call the speak button. This is what will pronounce the words you type in the text box. So let's design it. Let's make the shape rounded. Now let's change the text to pronunciation. Pronunciation. Can you see? Now let's make the background color to be blue. You can surely pick any color you want. Then let's make the text color to be white. Now let's change the font size to be 20 or so. Let's make the font bold. Now our app is coming alive. Also, let's move on to the label. Now, what does the label does? We need a place where our meaning will be. We need somewhere where the meaning will show. That is what the label is for. A label is just a text on the screen that can't be changed. You cannot edit it. It's just a text on the screen that can't be edited. The user cannot edit the text. So the meaning of any word we put here in our text box will be displayed in our label. That is what the label is for. So we don't need to design anything with the label. We need to design. So let's go back to this. Let's change our text color a little bit. Our horizontal color a little bit. Let's make it I think this is okay. You can pick any color you want, but for me, I prefer this color. Now, the next component we have now is what I call the invisible component. They do not appear on the screen, but they are parts of the app. We call it text to speech. Now, it will appear here. Can you see? And it will appear here. They call them the non-visible components. You can't see them on the app interface, but they are there. Now, what does this component do? This is a special component. You won't see it on the screen like I said before. It gives the app a voice. It helps the app speak. Whenever we type in a word here, it speaks the word. It pronounces the word. That is what we are using the text to speech to do here. It pronounces that word. If you type in any word whatsoever and you want to hear the correct pronunciation, it pronounces the word. It helps us to pronounce the word. Think of it like we are giving the app a mouth to speak. Or let me say, we are giving the app a mouth to pronounce. So these are the components we'll be needing for our app. So let's rename each component because we can't take them like this. Let's start with the text to speech button. The text box button. Let's rename it to search bar. Now for the button, let's rename it to search button. Let's just leave it as search box. Now for the button 2, let's rename it to be speak box. For the label, let's rename it to meaning. With that, we are done with our user interface. But now, before we go into the logic part, we need a particular component. This is the smart part. Our app doesn't know meaning by itself. This dictionary doesn't know meaning of word by itself. So we connect it to the internet. For us to connect to the internet, we need a component called web component. Now we pick it and we drag and we drop it. It's a non-visible component too. So we add it. This allows us to connect to the internet. This component helps our app to talk to the dictionary online. So we are getting the dictionary API online. And the way we can connect it to our app, we need the web component to do so. So with that, let's get into our logic path. Now we are at the logic phase. Now we are building a dictionary, and this is what we want our dictionary to do: to get the meaning of the word and pronounce the word, then display the meaning of the word. These three things. So let's start with number one. We want it to get the meaning of the word. Now, our app does not have millions of, or the dictionary we are trying to build does not have millions of words in its database. So presently, we don't even have anything in our database. So for the app to get the meaning of millions and thousands of words, we need to connect to an online dictionary, which is called API. It's like we are asking the internet, hey, what does this word mean? But we are asking the internet through our app. So whenever we type a word, we are asking the internet, okay, let's say we type ball. We're asking the internet, okay, what does this word ball means? Then the internet will now bring back the definition to us. That's what we are doing. So to do that, we'll come here to the search button. Sorry. Come to the search button, then pick when our search button is being clicked. Whenever they type a word and our app is about to search for that word on the internet. So we will go to web 1, then we'll go to web 1 we'll go to web 1, then we'll go to set web 1 URL, meaning our URL, our API. I want to call our API. I want to call the online dictionary. We are trying to join the online dictionary and our app together. Now, I know you might be asking, why are we not using an extension? We can use an extension to make our work faster and speed up everything. But now we will know how the data is being fetched. So we need to we need to understand our app from the scratch. We need to understand what we are trying to build from the scratch. So let's see the URL as a, a bridge. So the URL is what is connecting our app to the online dictionary. Now, for the URL, we come to our join, we come to text, then we pick join. I'll tell you why we are picking join in a second. Then we come here, we pick an empty text. Now, we fetch for the dictionary API, meaning the online API. Now, the online API will be presented, you will have it in the chat box, so you can just copy and paste it. Now, we'll copy and paste our API here. As you can see, now our app is connected to our API. So our app is connected to our online dictionary. Now, how does it get a word to search for so that it can define it? We'll come here to our component. Then we'll come to our search bar. Now we'll not say search bar dot text. So we'll connect it to search bar dot text. Now what does this block say? Whenever our search button is being clicked, any word that is being imputed in our search bar, the web 1 will call the API to fetch for the definition of the word. That's just it. So whenever you type a ball and you press the search button, the web 1 will call the API to search for that word, then to give you the definition. So now, after that is done, what would happen if we want to get our definition from the online dictionary? So now this is it. When the app gets the results back, when the web one gets fetch the word and the meaning. Now, when the app gets the result back, it comes in a format called JSON. So JSON format is not a plain text like the plain text. Think of JSON formats like a box inside the box inside the box. Let me show you what I mean. Now look at this. This is one box. This is another box. This is another box. This is another box, and this is another box. So we have a box inside the box inside the box inside the box inside the box, and we can't have that in our dictionary. So we'll start by coming to web 1. Then we get when web 1 got text do. Now whenever our search button post a request of our word to the API, this when you post our word to the API to get the meaning. Now, I said whenever we get the meaning from the API, it comes in a JSON format. And we need to break that JSON format to get the actual meaning instead of going through those boxes. Instead of our viewers or our user seeing those different boxes, we needed just to go into that main box and just get the meaning and display it as a plain text. That's what we are trying to do. So we'll come to meaning. Then we have to set meaning text to, which is our meaning text. Our label that will be displaying our meaning. So we have to set the text. Instead of us setting the text to be in JSON formats, we want to break it down to just fetch only the meaning and to be in a single string. Like it should be just the meaning. We don't want that box in a box in a box in a box. So we'll come to this. Now, let me go through this quick and I will explain. So we'll come to this join, or rather, we'll come to dictionary. Then we'll pick get value for key. Now, for this case, we have 3 keys, which is the definitions, then meaning. I will tell you why we have those 3 keys in a second. But let me design our list, our boxes. Let me put it like that. Let me design our box. So the first box. So the first box will be definition. So the first box will be definition. Then to connect with the second box, we'll come to this place. I will pick make a list. Sorry. Okay. Make a. Sorry. Let me. Okay. Sorry. We'll pick select list. We are not making a list. We want to select a list items. So come here, then pick select list item. Now, in this our select list item, we connect another get value. Okay, sorry, no. Okay, yeah, get value. No, sorry. It has to be get value for key. Yeah, get value for key in dictionary or if not found. So now we do the same. We select list item index and we come here. Then this will be definitions. Now, let me resize this a little bit. For the index, we'll come to math. They'll pick the number same as this. So go to math, pick the number. Then it will be 1. I will tell you why we have this in a second. Now, for the if list not found, this will have to be, we will create an empty list. If our list is not found, we create our empty list if our value is not found. Now, for the actual meaning of the word, we'll come here, then we'll pick our get value for key, same as, then pick this. Now this will be meaning. We come to lists and we will select list item index. Now we will now come to web 1. We'll come to web 1. We'll now come to call web1.json text decode. We have to decode, the main reason why we are doing this is for us to decode our JSON response. We don't want to display the box in a box in a box in a box. We want to decode it. I'll break this down further, but let me finish building this. Now we'll come to respond content. Then we'll plug this into our respond content. Meaning, after we've decoded our meaning, after we've decoded it, it should get the response content. It should put it in a response content for us. So moving on, we now need to pronounce our word. So we come here and we call text to speech. Then we bring it here. Now, what do we want text to speech to pronounce? That is the word inside our search bar. So we come to our search bar. Then we pick search bar dot text. So any text inside our search bar, that is what our text to speech will pronounce. But now, you know that we have a pronunciation button. If we connect this like this, once our app gets the meaning of the word, it will pronounce the word instantly. So we don't want that to happen. Now we'll move this out and we'll come to our speak button. So we'll come here, then we'll pick when speak button. When we click it, it's as simple as that. Our click button should just do what? Should just call or pronounce the word we have in our text box, which is our search bar. Now, our button is not finished yet. The only thing we did in this button is just to call the API and send the request to the API to get back the definition. But now, what this button is only doing is just sending. It's not getting back. So we need to call this web1 inside this search button. So we come to web1, then we come to call web1 dot get inside this button. So we call web1 dot get inside this button. We made one small important mistake. Now, what is this mistake? Here we wrote meaning instead of meanings. So the API has list of meanings. Is in plural form. It's not in singular form. Think of it like when you have the right key, you can open the padlock. But if you don't have the right key, you can't open it. Meaning is not the right key. It's the wrong key. Meanings is the right key because is in plural form. Because we have different meaning in the list. Let me now explain what we have here. You might be wondering that, I said the web will return the text in a JSON format, meaning a box inside a box inside a box. Yeah. So now this is it. Inside these meanings, there's a list. Now inside this meaning list, this definition is part of the meaning list. So we pick definition. Now inside this definition, we are picking what? Definition. So inside these definitions, we are picking definition. So what we are doing is we are just picking a single meaning. So inside the list of meanings, inside the item of meanings, we are only picking one definitions. Now inside this same definitions, we are only picking one item, which is definition, which is where our text, the actual meaning is. Now you might be wondering that why are we not using things like meanings? Why are we using things like meanings, definition, and this list? Why can't we just get the meaning directly? Well, that is because of how the data is arranged in the JSON format. Like I said, think of the data like a set of boxes inside the box inside the box. So the first thing, okay, let me use a good analogy. Think of the data like a bag. Now, inside the bag we have a book. Now, inside that book we have a page where the exact text is. So first, when we get the data from the internet, it comes as just one, which is the bag. So the first thing we do is to pick the first item, which is what? Definitions. But in this case of our bag, the first item is what? Our book. You have other things in the bag. You have your pencil, you have your biro, you have your eraser, and so on and so forth. But we are picking the first item, which is what? Our book. But in this case of our dictionary, we are picking what? The definitions. Now, inside this book, which is our definition, we also have lists inside it. Now, that is what we want to get, the first item on that list inside that definition, which is what? Definition, which is the actual meaning of our word. Because this is a list on its own. This is a list on its own. So inside this list we have this. Inside this list we have this. Once again, definition is also part of meaning list, and definition is also part of definitions, and indirectly is part of meaning. So we're only picking the first item of each list, which is what? The first item in meanings, the first item in definitions, the first item in definition, which is what? Our actual meaning. So are you getting it? Like I said, a box inside a box inside a box, and I use a very good analogy for us. Think of it like a school bag. Okay, the web will return it in a school bag, which is our JSON format, which is as one. And that one, we can't just jump into our definition, because that is not the way they are being arranged, and our app doesn't know where it is yet. Our app doesn't know where our definition is yet, so you can't just jump into the right definition. So we have to follow the order, because the data is arranged in layers, which is what? Our bag, our book, and the page. So we must open each layer to reach the actual meaning. You open your bag, bring out the book, then you open the book to get the page. So you open the meaning, bring out definitions, then you open definitions to get the actual definition. So are you getting me? So meaning is a list on its own. Now, definitions is an item inside meaning list, and definitions is a list too on its own. Why definition is the actual text that we are looking for. So that's it inside this button. Now with that, we are done building our app. Now our app will get the definition, and it will also pronounce our word. But now it's only getting just a definition. Just a definition. So we come here, build, then we'll download our app. So to package it in an APK for us. So in the next part, we'll be we'll be upgrading our dictionary. One, we won't be getting just a single meaning. We'll be getting multiple meanings, and we'll be able to handle errors. We'll be able to handle errors in the next part. So watch out for part 2 to upgrade.
Good. Lord. Lord. God.